Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Last First Date Radio, featuring interviews with experts in dating, relating, and mating in midlife. And now, here's your host, Sandy Weiner.
Hi, this is Sandy Weiner. Something was going on with the show, and I had to call back in. So I'm sorry for the delay, and I wanted to just welcome you to Last First Date Radio. And I am the founder and chief love officer here. And thank you for joining us. Last First Date Radio is a show about achieving off-the-charts love in the second half of life, and we have a fabulous show coming up for you today. I'm going to be speaking with self-awareness trainer, speaker, and writer Andrea Quintero about the importance of self-love, because without self-love, we cannot love somebody else. As a dating coach, I specialize in helping women date as a high-value woman that they are in every other part of their lives. Because when a woman knows her true value, she attracts her most aligned partner. And most women who come to me for support are amazing. They are incredible women. They are amazing at work, and they struggle with romantic relationships. And they often bring some level of what we call masculine energy into their dating life. The stuff that makes them successful at work is not the same thing that makes them successful in relationships. And so that's a lot of the work that I do, is to help women really put a mirror up to what they are doing or saying that might be turning off the men that they're attracted to. So if you would like to learn the top 3 mistakes that midlife daters make and how you can turn them around now and find lasting love, I would love to give you a copy on my website. Go to lastfirstdate.com, lastfirstdate.com, and sign up on my homepage. I also want to invite you to my new Facebook group, Your Last First Date. So just go to Facebook and search in groups for Your Last First Date. This is a completely free resource for any woman over 40 who would like support in dating and relationships. The group is positive. You will use to succeed at dating. I also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Audible. So audibletrial.com/last first date. That's audibletrial.com/last first date. Go there and grab your free Audible book and your free month trial of Audible. Audible is a fantastic resource if you like listening to audiobooks so that you can read as you go. Check out audibletrial.com/last first date. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our guest, Andrea Quintero. Her passion is enabling leaders to unlock their greatest potential and achieve a deep sense of fulfillment. She has an MBA and a master's in psychology with research focus on leadership and mindfulness. And she has a strong background in medicine, microbiology, and chemistry. Andrea has been studying the art of enlightenment for over 15 years. She's a self-awareness trainer, speaker, writer, and founder of The Village, a university-based spirituality group. So welcome to the show, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I don't know what happened before with the lines, but I was getting a high ringing tone. I had to call in on my cell phone, so just scrambling here to make this work. But it's really interesting that you went from a very kind of left brain world of science and into more of the right brain of enlightenment. So, what made you go there? That's the first question.
What made me go there? Yeah, that's I get that question a lot. So Since I was a kid, I was into my own world. I was what most people call an introverted child, and so I questioned things, and I gave answers to those things that I questioned in my mind, and that is who I am at my core. But as we grow up, and so my curiosity led me to the sciences, right? So the research, the microbiology, the medicine, to learn about the human body and how we function. And then after that, I got the MBA, because I wanted to make money. It's really the honest truth, to go into that and to really become an expert in the business world, which is very, very different than being a scientist. Mm-hmm. So, but while I was doing that, I would find myself reading some deep philosophical books, and so that was, again, being my true self. And after 10 years of being in sales, I decided to honor myself and go back and study the human being and behavior, and really, really get a really good understanding of philosophy, spirituality, metaphysics, and all of that.
Interesting. So, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that you wanted to make money, because you have to support yourself. And I think that a lot of people feel like it's dirty to say. And actually, I have a son who's an artist and a musician, and we have these conversations quite a bit about, don't be afraid to ask for money for your work, because otherwise you're not really valuing yourself. So that's actually a good segue to love and, valuing yourself. And so let's talk about the foundation of what does make a healthy relationship.
Yeah, that is everyone's. I think we ask that, but we really don't have an answer. So the reason I try to be authentic in every interaction I have. So I think the key to a healthy relationship is really in the intent. So it's about asking ourselves, why are we, or why do we want a relationship? It's about walking into a relationship from a place of wanting one and not needing one, and then committing to doing the work, right? It's kind of like doing what you love. When you're doing what you love, you immediately commit, so you don't need to do it. You're loving it. So a healthy relationship is one in which both people come together with the intent of sharing each other, not taking from each other, right? So when we're at that point, we both create a space in which each of us can nurture that space from a place of compassion, understanding, and patience. And if I'm in a place of not sharing, I walk into a relationship, or any relationship, with the intent of getting something from the other person, right? So it's not the intent of nurturing a space, of co-creating a space. It's the intent of, well, if I am with a guy or with a girl, I will be happy. I will feel more stable. I will feel more secure. I will have continuous sex or love or approval. So it's very important also, I think this is something that I wanted to mention, that when we walk into any relationship, to come in it with the intent of learning. And that's why I say intent is the main ingredient. Because if I'm on a date with someone and I'm on a date with the intent of, okay, my goal at the end of the date is this, then in a way I'm controlling the outcome of the experience. But if I walk into a quote-unquote date and I say, okay, I'm here to learn about me, about what gaps I potentially have, and about the other person, not what gaps they have and what they don't, but I'm here to learn about each other. And another last thing that I feel strongly about is being authentic. It's something that I call being real. So expressing exactly what I'm feeling and experience being in that moment with that person, accepting myself as a human being. All my emotions, they come and go with me, and I'm sitting in front of you, and this is me. And expressing myself as truly as possible. It's pretty scary, but it's quite fun when we do it.
And so effective. I mean, you've mentioned so many important things. So I just want to recap. So you said it's important to want a relationship and not need one. So I want to push back on that one just a little bit, because I think that really we do need relationships to thrive. That there's a difference between neediness and being alone and wanting a relationship to sort of complete you, which is a whole fallacy, and also admitting that relationships are actually a need. Sex is a need. Companionship is a need. So, I just, do you agree with that distinction? I don't know, what you mean by not need.
Yeah, so you're right. So needing meaning being needy, right? I need to be with a person in order to be happy. I need to be with someone in order to feel secure. So as human beings, we're social beings. I mean, we have the necessity to build communities. We can't. I mean, they are the tribes in Africa. Their rate of suicide is extremely low because they're able to build communities. So we do need that. But if I'm looking for a relationship or a romantic relationship with someone, if I walk into it because I have that need, that means I'm filling up a hole within me that I can't fill, and I'm going to seek that from you. So at that moment, it's imbalanced, because first of all, it's unfair to the other person that the other person doesn't know you have that need. I need to have sex every day, so therefore I'm going to be in a relationship. I need to feel loved, so therefore sex, I understand that, but if I go into a relationship in order to feel loved, then I have to step back and understand, why can I feel loved with what I have right now, with my family, my friends, my job, what I do in my free time.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that one. And then the commitment to doing the work, that's such a big part. It's like so many people feel, I had a client write to me, she's in a great relationship right now, and she's like, she mentioned to me about getting married, and is that sort of the guarantee that the relationship is going to be successful, or that he'll be committed? And no, it's not. I think what a lot of people confuse this is it feels like it's so much work, it's hard work. It's more about nurturing the relationship and not not letting it go. Once you're in a relationship, you do have to be fully expressed. You have to talk about things. Things do come up. They always come up. And if you're in a great relationship, you can talk about everything, because there's a level of safety and trust that you've developed, and you know how to discuss these things without being triggered, without being defensive or offensive. And those are all really essential relationship skills.
Yeah, I agree. It's I think in a way, I was born and raised in Colombia, South America, so I'm going to be just a little bit biased in regards to what quote unquote happiness is for me. I mean, there's contentment, right? So it's almost like here in the States, there is this idea of that a relationship is a romance novel. That we meet somebody, and if we don't feel chemistry, and I've learned this from a woman that's coached me into understanding that if we don't feel that intensity at the first meeting, that it's just not going to work. But love is like if I plant a seed of a flower, I can't expect that seed to grow into a flower the next day. The flower has to take its course to express its beauty. And it takes a long time. And guess what? It takes me to nurture that flower. It takes me to enabling that flower to express its beauty. And that is the relationship, that it takes time. It takes us to understand ourselves and be patient. Like you said, you're doing the work, flowering, watering the flower.
Yeah, I know. I love the garden analogy, actually, because I often use it too, because I think this instant love is such a fallacy, and people write about it. There's movies about it, but even in online dating, it's like I will know it when I see it. When you walk into the room, it's going to hit me, and it'll either be there or it won't. And no, there's certain sparks. There are certain connections, sparks of connection that we feel But that instant chemistry, wow, that is such a disservice that Hollywood has done to love, because it's not real love, it's not mature love. So you've talked about a healthy relationship. So would you say that those things that you talk about are also the same components of love?
Wow. Well, love to me is like I said, I'm Colombian, so I've got that passion running through my veins, and so the relationship, the things that I mentioned are more, I guess, tangible. I perceive love as intangible, as like unmeasurable, like coming from my soul, right? So, you know, to the comment that you said that Hollywood, that the media has, oh my gosh, just like diluted the word love, right, and the ability for us to perceive what love is. It's very true, and that's why I go back to my first answer that, in a way, I don't feel that most people know what love is. You know, what true love, at the end of the day, no matter how many self-help books are out there, it is the ability for me to love myself. That means for me to stop judging myself. And these are internal dialogues that are running in our minds since we were born, right? Because of the adjustment that we had to make with our caregivers. And so the stopping the judgment, the seeking of approval, the chasing goals in order to be somebody so that I can prove someone right or wrong, and then instead turn our attention back to ourselves and nourish and nurture my being. And I feel that it's very important to evolve emotionally, to reach a higher level of self-awareness, to reach a higher level of consciousness. It doesn't mean, you're going to become a Buddha or anything, but yeah, we have the ability to go up. If we're going down, that's a choice that we make. If we go down, we have the ability to go up. So for example, I thought about this last night as I was prepping for this call, that true love is like, for example, accepting that I am a purple, 5-legged dog that speaks 5 languages and going from there. If I accept that, I'm going to find somebody one day because I know who I am. Like, I value myself. I value my purple color. I value my 5 legs. So now imagine for a second the opposite. Like, if I try to become a white or a yellow dog, and I try to cut off one leg to be accepted in society, right, so that I can find somebody because I just feel so lonely, and I understand that. But that's what people do. We are who we are, and then we try to become someone else. That causes a lot of suffering. So as you can see, it takes a lot of courage and work on ourselves to be authentic, right? That I'm going to be yellow, I'm going to be purple, and I'm going to walk. But you know what? If I'm purple, I can create a community because I'm a dog. Well, in the sense that I'm a human, and I have gaps. And so it's going against those false beliefs that were given to us, that are being fed to us by other people, by society, by institution, whatever. And to be real is to love ourselves, which is to accept ourselves as we are today. And only when we're able to do that can we truly love. We can truly love other people and accept them as how they are, not try to change them. And if you look at society, it's all about, trying to change you. Like I was thinking this morning, the self-help books, every single human being on this earth has a unique fingerprint. Now, I studied medicine. Every single person has a different aorta trajectory, right? So every person is unique. So how are you going to tell me that a self-help book that comes out is going to help me when only I know my reality better than anybody else? Now, I can take that book and accommodate its things, but everything is everything is given to us. And my pitch is you become you and honor you, and you give yourself to the world. And you write your own book, and you put it out there when you're interacting with other people. That, to me, is true love.
Yeah, you speak a lot of truth here. I think that it really takes tremendous courage to stand up for who we are authentically. And again, I love having these conversations with my son as he is emerging as an adult, and he has stood up over and over again. He has such self-awareness, so I see it in action. And I love watching him step into his authenticity, even when it goes against the grain, because that's where the true beauty happens. And it doesn't just happen in your relationships. It happens at work, too. If you're really aligned, and he is a musician and an artist, the more aligned he is with really believing in his true, authentic self, the more he's going to put out work that's really valuable. Talk about some practical ways that people, you talked about silencing the voices and, and really being authentic. So can you give a few suggestions as to ways that people can start today really tapping into who they are authentically?
The way that people are, what? I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
If you can give some practical suggestions as to how people can tap into their authenticity and start really loving themselves more.
Wow. Okay. I love that question because it's so loaded. It's like it's a whole week's worth of discussion. There are so many. So if we look at tangible ways, I think journaling. So our self-awareness, right? I'm all about self-aware. That if I'm acting, if I'm behaving a certain way, and if something doesn't go the way that I wanted it, or if something doesn't feel right, I like to study, quote unquote, that experience. And so I think journaling would be a good way. If we don't have the assistance of a specialist like a psychotherapist, which would be my first option to tell everybody, if you truly want to gain some sort of self-awareness, go see an existential type of psychotherapist. He'll really get you going, but it'll take about a year to get you there. But for those of us that don't have that choice, or I think journaling would be one thing, and I'm going to say reading. I read a lot. I love reading. And one of the two things that got me, that speeded my ability to be more aware, were reading philosophy books and studying Tibetan Buddhism. Now, I've studied other religions as well. I was born and raised Catholic, then I went agnostic and all those things. But so I think those two things are key. Journaling gives me the ability to express myself without fear. It's just me and a piece of paper and a pen. So I'm fearless, right? So you practice on the journal, and then maybe if you can get comfortable with that journal, you can share your feelings, or you can share, instead of writing on the journal, you can share that with a friend. So what I'm getting to is lack of fear. When we diminish fear, we become more aware, right? So we become more aware, we become less fearful, we become more authentic. So start slow, journal, and talking to a friend, and then ultimately at some point you'll be able to express yourself without fear with a romantic partner. And then the other thing that I mentioned was philosophy and Tibetan Buddhism. I'm not a Buddhist. I just love the philosophy. The mind, we're all ruled by the mind, meaning that who we are today is an accumulation of my experiences through my entire life. Okay? And so when I encounter a relationship, all of those wounds are going to come up. And so most of us, what happens is we don't have the skills, like we don't have the ability, we freeze in fear and whatnot. And so philosophy allows me to understand the mind and to understand that, at the end of the day, it is my thoughts that create my reality. But where do my thoughts come from? And then you just go from there, and then you understand that all of the fears that we have and all of the walls that we put up, that we have the ability to break them down. But they're not that bad. They're not bad at all. It's just we live in our own fantastic story, tales, and and fantasies
really
at
true.
the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, we get in our own way, but also we have the ability to change it, and that's super empowering.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people don't realize how much power they have to create the life that they want. And a lot of these suggestions are great pathways to get there. So in the last few minutes that we have, can you share some of the challenges that you've had in dating and relationships and how you've overcome them?
So the challenges that I've seen were obviously challenges that I've faced, and I've through time I've also seen reflecting on other people, and it's just ultimately authenticity and self-awareness, right? It's like you said a few minutes ago. It's we get in the way of ourselves, and just having the courage, Sandy. Just having the courage that if I truly want a loving relationship, what kind of relationship do I want? Do I want a loving relationship? Do I want a semi-loving relationship? And then acting from there and being honest. I think the word honest is really not like the right word. To me it's like being authentic, being raw. Like eating raw food. You're eating the food without being cooked. Like if there's no mutation in the atoms of the food, right? So you're raw. So to me, it's the authenticity and the self-awareness that, hey, you know what? If I'm interacting with a guy or a girl, I'm not aware of what I'm doing. I'm just there, and I'm not really engaged in the experience. I'm not really like juicing the experience, like asking as many questions as I can so I can get to know, because what I have in front of me is a human being. It's not an object. So it's going to take us literally, I think, maybe a lifetime to get to know somebody. So authenticity and self-awareness are the two biggest things that I've seen, and the way that I've been able to cope with it, I have the master's in psychology. I've gone deep into philosophy, metaphysics, and a lot of psychotherapy. Psychotherapy has given me the ability to use, I don't want to say skills because it objectifies us, but yeah, for me to be able to communicate better and understand myself better so that I can in turn understand other people.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that when you say, you've said several times that we need to learn about other people and learn about ourselves, and that's so key because, this morning, again, on another coaching call, I was speaking to a client who had made a lot of assumptions about the people that she was communicating with online, and we tend to do that. We tend to immediately assume that somebody is a certain way because that's our experience. And so what I always encourage to get curious and to ask questions.
Yes.
And, there's usually 5 other reasons why somebody does what they do or acts the way they do. And we need to stop limiting. And I think that just that whole, if nobody takes away anything else, to just connect, be authentic, but really get curious and don't assume that everybody is a reflection of you, that we are all unique. As you say, we're all unique human beings. We act from our own unique set of circumstances and from our life history, and that's how we are in the world. So find out, ask questions. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Andrea. This is touching the tip of the iceberg here, but self-love is such a key part of finding relationships that really are effective and where we really can find love. And so thank you, and please tell our audience how they can find you.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It's been a pleasure, again, sharing what I've learned with all of you guys. And thank you for listening, for those of you out there. And you can find me on my website called METIS, so METIS-Q.com. And you'll pretty much find anything and everything you need to know about my firm. And you can go on LinkedIn and look me up and look at my experience. Andrea Quintero, that's Quintero.
Okay, well, thank you, Andrea, and thank you, everybody, for listening today. And I hope you all go on your last first date very soon. Have a great day.